So hello again, my name is Ellen Haas with the American Association of Community Colleges, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to our webinar today on moving up strategies for preparing your next ATE project proposal. Thank you for joining us. This webinar originated as a workshop back in the days when we held in-person conferences. So we hope to see an iteration of this in 2022 at the PI conference. But in the interim, we're really pleased to bring this to you as a webinar. And hopefully you've got some good ideas for a project proposal and that this is very helpful to you as you move through the ATE pipeline. Just a bit of housekeeping on this webinar. We do encourage you to use the chat window to input your questions. And we also have a completely separate standalone Q&A session, an ATE office hours follow-up scheduled for February 16th from 2 to 3. We'll be sending out information on that in this webinar and as a follow-up. So any questions that don't get addressed in chat will be carrying over to that office hours session. You can also email me any questions. We'll make sure to address them on the 16th if we don't address them today. We also have a handout that will be posted in chat. This webinar is being recorded and you'll receive a link to the slides, the recording, the handout, and information on the office hours after the session today. So it's my pleasure to introduce our presenters. We are holding this webinar in collaboration with Mentor Connect, Mentor Up, ATE Central, and of course we're sponsored by the National Science Foundation. It's my pleasure to introduce Elaine Kraft, Principal Investigator with Mentor Connect. Liz Tellis, former ATE Program Director with the National Science Foundation and co-PI on 2 ATE Mentor Up Awards, and Pam Silvers, former NSF ATE PI with the Skilled Workers Get Jobs Project and Computers Technology Instructor. With that, I know we have a full agenda today, so I'd love to turn it over to Elaine.
Thanks, Ellen. The information we provide today is targeted to those who've been recipients of a small project for institutions new to ATE and others who are seeking ATE project or Track 2 funding. Moving up to an ATE project is the focus of today's program. The information we share, however, will also be helpful to those seeking Track 3 funding, Consortia for Innovations in Technician Education. The terminology can be a bit confusing. I will explain. Funding opportunities within the NSF program, such as ATE, are categorized into tracks. For each track, there are unique specifications and funding limits. These are outlined in the program solicitation. Small projects for institutions new to ATE is a funding track. Another funding track is ATE projects. Still another track is Consortia for Innovations in Technician Education. ATE also has a track that funds centers and yet another that funds research. In part because specifications differ, proposals in different tracks are reviewed separately. For example, when a new to ATE small project proposal is reviewed, it only competes against other new to ATE project proposals. The same is true for projects submitted to the ATE projects track. The ATE projects track receives the greatest number of proposals each year in the ATE program. This is one reason funding becomes more competitive for those seeking ATE projects. Today, we want you to consider why you should move up, when you should move up, what moving up options you have within ATE projects funding track, strategies for making your next proposal more competitive, and where you can get no-cost mentoring and other assistance to help you be successful. First, let's look at why you should move up. NSF grants are complex and demanding. Expectations are high. In preparing, submitting, and implementing your first NSF ATE grant, you learned a lot. The sooner you apply your newly acquired knowledge and experience, the more it can help you with future funding success. In other words, it makes sense to leverage what you've learned. Also, in today's higher education environment, the budget your college provides to support your program is not likely to be growing. Grants can provide much needed resources to keep programs current and faculty and equipment up to date. Small projects for institutions new to ATE are designed to get something started. Your first project probably tackled only one part of a larger vision you have for the improvement of technician education. A moving up project can help you implement the next phase of your first project, or perhaps take what you have learned to other departments or disciplines within your college or partner high schools and colleges. It isn't essential that your college's moving up project be in the same department or even involve the same faculty, but it helps if there is overlap. Importantly, new projects keep you thinking ahead. They stimulate and nurture innovation in your program and college and keep momentum going for continuous improvement. Next, let's consider when you should move up. It is helpful to know that NSF sets no parameters in this regard. A college can submit any number of proposals in a given year, and there is no requirement that a current project be completed before submitting another proposal. ATE is a funding program that encourages multiple grant submissions and supports repeat funding of principal investigators and colleges. It is important to note, however, that the first required section in an ATE project grant proposal must be results of prior support. If this section is lacking substance, the proposal will not be competitive. So our advice about when to submit a moving up proposal is to do so when you have enough results from your first project to make a case for additional funding. It is entirely possible for interim results and lessons learned to be compelling. In general, year 2 of a 3-year project would be the earliest you should apply, but year 3 or after will likely be even better. There is no end date. Any length of time can pass before you submit a second grant, but the longer you wait, the more things will have changed at your institution and with the NSF ATE program. This means that you will lose some of the value of your previous knowledge and experience. If you wait 7 years or longer to apply for a second ATE grant, you become newly eligible to submit in the small projects for institutions new to ATE track. This track consistently has the highest funding rates, so it is an excellent option for anyone who is eligible. In addition to results of prior support, here are some other considerations when you are contemplating a moving up proposal. ATE projects are never solo efforts. As projects grow larger, there is an expectation that you will have partners or more partners and achieve more or greater impacts than with smaller projects. As with all ATE projects, there must be a clear need that your project will address. Very often, new needs or opportunities for improvement bubble up from your current or previous grant work. It is always a good idea to build on what you have done and learned. Follow-on grants are often essential in order to keep up momentum and for the changes and improvements you made with your first project to be sustained. It is all too easy to drift back to business as usual, following a grant if you don't have the stimulation of additional funding. Your moving up grant needs to be the right fit within available funding options. Look for the opportunity that aligns best with the technician education needs you have identified, then go for it. Now, Liz will share information about how to identify the right fit for your next project.
Thank you, Elaine, and thank you to all of you who are here today with us. Everybody knows I always say the first thing you do is you read the solicitation and then you read it again. And you make sure you've got the current one because things change. And I don't know if you can see the program here, but if you look here, there's a section down here with what the changes are. Please note that it's October 6th this year, and it's 5 o'clock local time, whatever your local time is, and that's what time your institution is. So if you're in Texas and that's where your institution is, but trying to submit from California, be sure to use Texas time so that you make sure you do it right. It's a firm date and you have to do it that way. But all of us would strongly, strongly, strongly recommend that you submit at least 2 days early because things go wrong. You forget something, there's a PI you haven't registered, there's something like that. So make sure that would be our biggest piece of advice here, is to submit early, and then if run it off and look at it. And if it doesn't look like you think it should, then you've got plenty of time to change it and fix it. Okay, so next slide. What about ATE projects? Okay, there's 3 major tracks. I would say these are kind of the core of the ATE program. One thing that has changed this year is that the funding level has gone up from 600,000 to 650,000, so you can get a little bit more money. The program solicitation says up to 3 years, but all of us would recommend that you use the 3 years. It takes 3 years to get things started. They always take a little longer to get started than you think they are. So what are the 3 core areas of ATE? All of you probably know, but it's program development and improvement, curriculum and educational materials development, professional development for educators, and it'll say there's some description in the program solicitation about what this means, but almost all proposals will have some elements of all 3. So for example, it's difficult to improve a program. Maybe you've got a manufacturing program that needs all kind of updating and all. It's hard to improve that without changing some of the materials you'll be developing, and it's hard to do it without providing some professional development for your educators. Technical faculty need lots of additional things. The ATE program can certainly pay for workshops and can pay for certifications for faculty and things like that. So these are the 3 core areas. But again, think in terms of integrating elements of all 3 into this. Next slide. There's some other focus areas. One is instrumentation. Now, almost all ATE programs require some equipment, not required. If you've got it all, then if you've got it all, you'll describe that in one of the sections toward the end of the proposal. But this is a particular track where industry has said your technical students that are coming in, they need to have some specific classes and the curriculum development along with the current piece of equipment that we're using. So it's required in this case that industry work with the institution and with the faculty to develop the curriculum that can be used with this particular piece of equipment. This is usually more expensive than just what the equipment would be in one of the program improvement ones. Another kind of special track is called Adapt and Implement. Again, all ATE proposals have to build on what other people have done. You're not coming out of a vacuum. You have to talk about it. So you may be adapting lots of things from other projects, but this particular one is where you see a particular program at another institution, and you want to try that and implement that curriculum usually at your institution, perhaps with a different set of students, or you're going to do some extra in some of these. If you go into this track, you probably would be expected to be using the institution that developed this to help provide some faculty and development for you. And then you would feed back into that project how it's working with different audiences. Just as a quick example, American Samoa last year got a grant to adapt a program from Sinclair. And then because we know students are entrepreneurial, there's opportunities for our students to develop some business skills in these programs. And we always want to build the capacity for faculty to be able to be leaders. Next slide. Elaine talked a little bit about the new to ATE. Again, this is a change this year that has gone from 300,000 to 350,000. And then it says 2 to 3 years, but like all the others, I'd say 3 years. One thing you might note here, though, is if one campus has gotten an ATE, if there's another branch campus or another campus is part of the same institution, and they have their same or a different executive officers. So, you know, there's a provost for that campus or a chief academic officer or whatever the word is for that system, then that branch can be a new to ATE also. The new opportunity this year is Consortium for Innovation and Technician Education. These are starting to be big grants again. If there's 2 institutions, it can be up to 1.2 million, and 3 or more can be up to $3 million. As you can see, they're trying to get several institutions to work together here on things. This is one where innovations is correct. So for example, perhaps you have a business technology program, they're in the States having business technology, and all of a sudden you've got to make them buildings more energy efficient. So that all the building technology programs include classes on energy efficiency. Another one might be if institutions in your state, all the automotive technology programs are based on gasoline and oil kind of projects, and they're changing over to electric. That would be an innovation for groups to get together and do that, or integrate cybersecurity into manufacturing programs or something like that. But the big thing we tell you, if you can't decide, ask one of us. At the end of the program, all our email addresses will be there, and we all like to answer questions. And so just ask if you don't have questions, or ask us. Elaine?
Thanks, Liz. We've just heard about the ideas that ATE can fund. Now I want to point out several things that fall outside ATE parameters. I often tell people to be careful not to color outside the lines, that you need to propose a project that ATE can actually fund. Keep in mind that the ATE program does not fund student scholarships. Also avoid projects that focus on making broad STEM education improvements and do not have a clear focus on technician education and the students in those particular programs. Also, there are equipment items that are not allowable. I will review these on the next slide. ATE is a workforce development program that focuses on producing job-ready technicians for programs offered at two-year colleges. ATE does not fund projects that primarily prepare students for transfer to four-year colleges or universities, rather than for immediate employment. However, ATE values technician education programs that make transfer of credit to senior institutions available through articulation agreements. Just keep in mind that transfer can't be the focus of an ATE project. Also keep in mind that ATE cannot fund health, veterinary, or medical technician programs. Items you may not include in your project and budget are listed on this slide. Unallowable costs include such things as equipment and instrumentation that does not significantly improve instructional capability, building or laboratory modifications, installation equipment, maintenance contracts, mobile units, and general utility items or teaching aids. Now, Pam will give you some pointers about how to get started with your Moving Up grant proposal.
Thank you very much, Elaine. You know, when you start any task, your first steps are probably the most critical. Without a solid foundation, or in this case, a good idea with a good rationale, it will be hard to submit a successful proposal. Your proposal should not just be a continuation of a prior NSF AT funded project or other project. Your results of prior support can be based on several different things. First of all, it can be based on an ATE grant. For example, you might be finishing a grant and identify a missing piece or link. After we were in the middle of our first grant, we realized that although we had great results with engaging non-traditionally aged students, we were not engaging high school students. So our third grant focused on how do you engage high school students and their parents to think about a career in our technology and engineering programs. It might also be based on other grant funding. It might be based on funding that someone else received. For example, another area in your college might have implemented a strategy that worked for them, and you want to now see if that strategy will work for your technology or engineering program. Or it might be based on something that wasn't grant funded. For example, you might have had success with a small rollout of something and you want to expand it or use it in a more in-depth procedure. There is a required section in the NSF proposal that asks about prior support, and this does matter. You cannot just state we had an NSF ATE grant, but you need to provide details on what you accomplished. 400 years ago, poet John Donne said, "No man is an island," and that holds true today. When I submitted my first proposal many years ago, I thought that part of the process was to go it alone. I really didn't think I could ask people questions. I thought I was supposed to show how I had it all figured out. Nothing could be further from the truth. The ATE community is truly a community. Ask for advice from other PIs who have received multiple awards. Conduct research on those who have received the awards that might complement what you want to do and find out what worked for them and what didn't work. Attend conferences such as High Tech or the PI conference. The PI conference is only if you have a current ATE funding. It's a great place to make connections. Going to the exhibit hall, talking to people, finding out what they have done will both give you ideas. And when you write a proposal, you don't want to say no one has ever done this before and then have the reviewers say that's been done by 15 people so far. You should have researched the current funding. And do participate in mentoring programs. I'll talk more about them on the next slide. And you can share a one-page summary of your idea. I really recommend that you first of all share it with college personnel and potential partners and make sure that they're on board and think that your idea does work for what they want to do, and then share it with a program officer. If you send it to a program officer, they will provide you feedback. Don't expect an instantaneous response. They're very busy people, and I think I can safely say there are not enough program officers for all of the questions and awards that they give. So give them time. The email addresses for program officers working in the ATE program are on the NSF website if you use a keyword of ATE. There are several ATE funded programs that provide mentoring support to people submitting proposals. Think about this. NSF ATE thinks it's so important for you to get a grant and have funding that they fund people to provide mentoring for you. Later in this presentation, Dr. Tallis and Dr. Kraft will provide information on 2 of these programs. The mentoring can support colleges submitting new to NSF proposals as well as other proposals. First, you can get help with program development. This means getting assistance from subject matter experts. For example, if you have an idea involving biotechnology, there's mentoring that can assist you with your plan. Second, there are mentoring programs that provide help with program development. As you review an NSF ATE solicitation, you will notice that there are many components. Sometimes it's hard to know exactly what you submit or what is being asked for. The proposal development mentors can help you with that information. Next, evaluation is a really important part of your proposal. Having someone who can help you with your evaluation plan or provide guidance in finding an evaluator can be critical to your proposal success. Evaluate has many resources available regarding evaluation. Fourth, and I've just noticed a typo, so it's going to bother me this entire slide, is industry involvement. As you develop a proposal, it's critical that your plan addresses local industry need. Mentoring is available to assist you in ensuring industry involvement. And there is follow-up mentoring if you're not funded initially. So ATE is a community. They want to help you. They want to help you get funded. And so you want to make use of these mentoring items. I've been working with different mentors, and I was definitely mentored in my proposals, and it makes a difference to have someone you can ask. So definitely ask. And finally, no mentoring discussion would be complete without talking about ATE Central. Their site, which was shown on an earlier part of this presentation, provides connections to a plethora of resources. When I got my first grant, I will tell you, I got an email from ATE Central, and I really thought it might be a scam from someone wanting me to pay for a service. I was going, who is this group and why am I caring? I sent an email to Elaine and said, Elaine, I got this something from ATE Central, and she answered back and said, yes, they're legitimate. Yes, you want to be involved. So these are 2 lessons I learned. First, ATE funded projects and the people involved are indeed a community. And there are ATE resources available to me. at no cost. Next slide. As you work on your proposal, you want to develop a strong team. You want to have a cohesive team that has a faculty focus. This is really critical for ATE. And just 1 second, I need to take a sip. I'm sorry about that. NSF ATE requires that projects be faculty led. So you want to have an instructor who's going to be passionate about what they're doing. From doing 3 NSF ATE grants, having something I really cared about made it not seem like work a lot of times. It really was a joy to be working on it. And you want to make sure that your faculty have that similar involvement. However, you also want to have a project team of people who you need to help you be successful when you get funded. As an example, if your project includes recruiting, you definitely want to have some people from your student services office involved. Or if you're going to offer a specialized learning lab, you want to include people who currently run labs on your campus so you can coordinate your efforts with existing services. The big thing is you do not want people on your campus upset because you got the grant. You want them to be equally exciting. When you're developing your NSF budget, you're going to request funds to support your PI and any co-PIs. Personnel might receive a course reduction and have part of their salary paid by grant funds. Ideally, the PI and co-PI will have some duty or responsibility removed so they can focus on the grant. When I was a PI of my grants, I had a reduced teaching load, so I was able to focus my attention on the grants. This worked really well because it meant I wasn't having to work longer days to work on the project. I had fewer classes to worry about, and ideally, and in reality, the students in the classes had an instructor who could focus on teaching them and wasn't being drawn in a lot of directions. However, if you're at a smaller school or possibly in a more rural area where it's hard to find faculty to teach, NSF ATE allows you to include overload pay if it is aligned with your college's policies. Overload pay should not be the first choice, but a few years ago, ATE realized that some colleges were not able to apply for grants because they did not have the possibility of faculty having a reduction in their workload. Now, an overload is allowed if that's what's needed to have a successful project. One of the biggest steps you should take after you have an idea is make sure you have institutional support. This means really looking at your institutional and partner values and capabilities. You do not want to do a proposal on something that your college isn't interested in or doesn't see a need for. Make sure you get the internal approval you need for your proposal. When you're first developing your idea, look and see how you need to get the internal approval from your college. This might be a really formal process. For example, if I want to do a grant, I have to first check with my dean. And then if my dean agrees that it's something worthwhile, I submit a formal request that's reviewed by our grants office and our executive leadership team. Then they sign a form that tells me that they're on board and I can proceed with the proposal. I can tell you several years ago at our college, a colleague worked on a proposal and did not get approval ahead of time. He had talked to people informally, but did not do the procedure. 2 days before he was going to submit the proposal, he went to the president to get a letter, and our president said, "We're not interested in doing that. I will not sign off on a letter for you to submit your proposal." He had truly worked on it for 6 months, and he thought he had the okay because they had informally said, "Oh, that sounds interesting." But our college says you have to have that written memo to be okay. However, if you're at a smaller college, it might be something that's a lot less formal, such as meeting with the college president and your supervisor to make sure they're on board. Personally, I would recommend that you go ahead and send an email as a follow-up that here's what we discussed and I'm going forward, so that you don't have that situation of 2 days before having it not work out. Whatever the process, make sure you do it early. Make sure that what you are proposing aligns with your college mission and values. Now, I think for ATE, this is pretty easy because most colleges want to engage students and offer programs where they can provide students with jobs when they graduate. So in most cases, your proposal is going to align with your college's strategic goals. Just ensure that your idea aligns with your college administration so they see the value of the proposal. You know, it's not that they aren't interested in what you do, but sometimes people get very busy with day-to-day work. People have a lot on their platter. So you want to talk to your administration and explain what you want to do with the rationale for your proposal and how your idea matches with the goals for the college. And it's also very important that you make sure you look at local economic needs. It is required that you show that you are meeting local business needs in your proposal. And now I'm going to turn it over to Liz, who is going to talk about some of these things and other items with the checklist that we've created.
Thank you, Pam, and thank you actually for putting this, doing the nice graphics on this moving up checklist. So right now we'll put the link to this in the chat box. I hope maybe you got it when Ellen sent it out earlier today, but if you didn't get it, you can download it from the chat box now. We won't be able to go through everything here. You can see the first page. It's a 12-page document, kind of as a checklist, and we'll do a high-level overview. I'll try to mention maybe one item out of each one of what's happening here, but we just tell you to pay attention to it. Download it from chat, read it over now before you start working too much, and then read kind of after you started work and see if there's some of these things you've forgotten. And then maybe toward the end of the, right before you submit your proposal, you might want to look at it again. We just feel like this is revised from last year, or so we used something similar last year, but we've revised it and added some things. For example, last year it didn't have a section on sustainability, and we added that as well as some extra information. Next slide. As you can see, it's divided into 12 sections here with subgroups under each one of things you can check to. But before I start going through the particular hints with this, I mean, we're assuming you've had a grant before, or someone at your institution has had a grant before. It doesn't necessarily have to be you. It may have been teams, and you're based on something people have done. But these are checklist things, and what's really important here when you look at this is that you realize that these are not separate sections. You're trying to tell a story. Every one of these, you may label it rationale, prior support, and all, but what you're trying to do is an integrated proposal that tells a story that reviewers see why you want to do it, what you want to do, who's going to do it. And so it kind of is a continuous thing between all of these. But just to do it, we will talk a little bit about each section. So for example, what's something that we say and before you start? Well, you've got to make a reason to want to move up. Okay, if you maybe you've had good success with a prior project, or maybe you've involved 3 high schools and now you're ready to involve 10 high schools. It could be a reason to do it. So, so all of these could be good reasons for doing it. Maybe you've had a project and now your industry said you've got great students, but there are 3 extra courses that that people need to have in this. So you need to develop these 3 extra courses that industry is now saying, or they may be saying, you've got to involve certifications. That now we require 3 certifications before people can even start working with us. So, or there's a new piece of equipment that people have to work on to do these. So those are some things about why you want to move up. Elaine talked about some, but those are some examples. The rationale, here you've got to talk about, remember ATE is a workforce program. And so your rationale has to be based on industry, and the needs of your employees. And so the rationale, one particular thing here that we continuously talk about is your rationale has to be based on jobs and employment in your local and regional areas, because as a community college, you're in your community or in your state or something like that. And so you have to provide, there's no need talking about, say, 400,000 biotechnology jobs if there are no biotechnology opportunities in your area. So, so that's partly what we recommend about rationale. How about prior support? this is the first section in your proposal, okay? And this is the first thing people will see when they're reading it. And so you are required, if you or any of the PIs have had prior support, to address it in this section. It doesn't say that's the only prior support you can talk about. I mean, if the institution has had a grant that this is particularly coming off of, that can be in your prior support here. The biggest recommendation we would say here, though, is that this prior support has to be written in the present and past tense. This is what we did. This is how we did it. This is so a major mistake that I've seen in too many proposals is that they don't pay enough attention to what the prior support is. This is part of your rationale, right? Is that you've got some quantitative and qualitative data based on what you did before. And now you're going to present that as a reason that you're ready to move up. Everything doesn't have to be successful. Maybe you have a lesson learned here. So for example, maybe you got plenty of students in your thing, but they had no diversity at all. So, so this is part of what it is. You're trying to bring in new audiences or a new thing here. So do write this prior support in the past or present tense, and do not just copy the abstract from what you did before. That's a big mistake. Partners, who is it? This has to have your partners who need to be involved in this project. So certainly business and industry here. And here I strongly recommend, and this will be talked about in the rationale, that you actually name the companies that are going to be in this, and actually that you also name a person. And then you submit a good, unique letter in the supplementary materials where they talk about it. Just be sure those letters are different. The work plan, again, this is, what are you going to do? What are your project goals? What are your objectives? What are your activities? What are your deliverables? This work plan is probably what you're going to be asking for money to do. Okay, so you got to lay out what it is you want to do, and then we'll talk about the budget has to match what it is you want to do. So the big thing we talk about here is that the work is SMART. And what do we mean by SMART? It means it's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable. I see too many proposals that look like the kitchen sink, and it's not achievable. You don't have enough work to be able to do that within the time that you've got allowed and the people you got involved. It has to be relevant. It has to be, you're making the case based on it's relevant to your community and your college, and it has to be time-based. You have to be able to show that you can complete this work in the time you asked for. The management plan, this is who's going to do the work. Okay, so who's going to do this work? And so I recommend here strongly that you include the names of the people who are going to be the work with a little sentence or two about what their role is in the project and why they're the best person for it. Remember, you're kind of bragging here, not begging for money. So you got to show that you've got really good people involved here. And by the way, you can mention people in the management plan that aren't getting money from the grant. So for example, if your recruitment office on campus is really involved with this project, their name can be in the proposal, and then you would include them back in another form called the equipment, facilities, and other resources form. Those are the people who things that you've got out there. The budget has to be relevant for what you're going to do. I mean, you know, all of a sudden I see a lot of proposals where I'll see items in the budget that weren't mentioned in the proposal. So you had no idea. All of a sudden you say, why are they having this, whatever? Okay, I mean, you know, and they haven't talked about it in the work plan. We do recommend you start out by writing the budget in narrative form using the NSF categories, and don't try to be putting my numbers into that form until you do that. Evaluation, just be sure you tie it to the specific goals and stuff. So I recommend that you have a table that ties those to the specific goals that you've got and objectives. So dissemination, just think local first. yeah, you might want to go to all these big national meetings, all these, but remember, dissemination starts locally. It starts at your institution. It starts with your partners. It starts with your high schools. It starts and then moves up to your state and all. And then sustainability, something's got to be left after the project's gone. So, and then you'll read about check before you submit and items to avoid. It's just in the checkbox. Next. So in summary, as Pam said, you have a strong interest in and commitment to what you're proposing. In summary, it has to be something that you and your college wants. It has to be sure, I'll just say the co-PIs, but it's the co-PIs and all your other partners on board, as well as business and industry. Now I'll turn it back over to Elaine to chat a little bit about something before I come back on.
Okay, thanks, Liz. The two guiding publications for all ATE proposals are the Program Solicitation and the PAPPG, which is a shortened version of the Proposal and Award Policies and Procedures Guide. Liz talked earlier about the ATE solicitation. I will make a couple of comments about the PAPPG. The PAPPG edition in effect now is NSF number 22-1. The PAPPG is updated regularly. As is the case with the solicitation, it is critical that you refer to the current version of the publication. Things change with each new publication. The proposal section of the PAPPG provides information and guidelines covering everything from allowable font sizes for your proposal and margins to instructions for including supplemental documents with your proposal. Start by reading the table of contents. Then, during proposal preparation, you will want to focus on the information in Chapter 2, Proposal Preparation Instructions. I will make one last and important comment about the PAPPG. There are instances where the instructions in the ATE program solicitation differ from those in the PAPPG. When this happens, the program solicitation is the authoritative source and should be followed. An example of a discrepancy that impacts ATE proposals is in the area of supplemental documents. The ATE program wants proposals to include unique letters of commitment from industry partners and others who will contribute to the success of the project. The PAPPG offers different instructions for how to include commitments. If you follow the PAPPG in this regard, rather than the ATE solicitation, the most likely outcome is that your project will not be funded. As you can tell, the journey to proposal submission is tricky, and it is challenging to know everything you need to know to be competitive and in compliance. The ATE program understands this and funds activities to support prospective grantees. Each year, webinars and tutorials are available to help prospective grantees develop budgets and budget justifications, complete all the forms that are required for proposal submission, and develop strong evaluation plans that meet ATE expectations. Several projects offer workshops that teach grant writing and other professional development to promote proposal success. There are coffee break webcasts that answer frequently asked questions. All of these resources are freely available from the Mentor Connect and Evaluate websites. And those URLs will be posted in the chat box. In addition, there are help desks. Mentor Connect and NSF offer help desks where real people are available by phone to assist you. At this time, we will highlight 2 ATE-funded mentoring services that are available to help you with your Moving Up proposal. First, Liz will tell you about Mentor Up.
Thank you, Elaine. So we have these opportunities to help you move up or to develop your first proposal. So all the mentoring projects, the aim is to have more competitive and improve the quality and quantity of these and to help you do these things. So I'm going to discuss Mentor Up. I'm a co-PI on it, and a sister workshop, FORCCE, that I'm a senior advisor on. So next slide. Again, this is a thing, and we really want you to submit competitive proposals by October 6th. So what are some of the particular unique aspects of the Mentor Up? It supports a faculty team, and they're supported by a grant writer or administrator, and you're assigned a mentor. And so it's a mentor in your discipline when we possibly can. Otherwise, it's someone knowledgeable in the area. And so the workshop this year is going to be virtual. So you can have multiple members of the team and people from the grants office as well. So what do? We provide pre-workshop work, usually starting in May for a June workshop. We provide a virtual workshop in June, and then post-workshop support. And continuous support is available during negotiations, or if you need to resubmit here. So what are some of the unique things here about it? One thing is, in addition to these workshop things, we provide a written review of a draft proposals by former ATE program officer. Last year I did half of them, and Kathleen Alfano did the other half. So this provides you a written of strengths and concerns and your proposals before while you still have time to fix something. So that's unique. But again, who is it for? It's for faculty who are ready to move up, who want a formal workshop as part of what they do. And we strongly recommend that if you have it and the people involved have not had this formal workshop training, that's important, and that you need the formal workshop training. If your team is new, or if it's been lots of years since you've done it and you just want something, or some of your team is new, or just if your desire is to be part of a formal workshop while you do this, developing your proposal. Next slide. So who we accept, they encourage from all community colleges and all areas of technology supported by ATE. And that's included but not limited to institutions new to ATE. So I would say about, just history has said that about 70 to 75% of our workshop participants have had prior support, and about half of those would be in the same area, but they may be from other parts of the college that want them to move up or do something different. The workshop dates June 15th to the 17th. Again, it will be held virtually, and you can have your teams. And 2 people can receive a stipend of $500 plus $250 when they submit the proposal. Next slide. Registration's open through April 1. We actually started yesterday, as you can get in on the ground floor of here. Starting with yesterday, we will start notifying people if the proposal is successful or something like that. We do give preference to those that apply by March 1. It gives us enough time to be able to assure that we have the right mentor for you. What do you have to include? A 1-page project description, a support letter from an administrator. Again, we want to make sure you've talked to somebody at the college that they want to do this before you go to the work and participate in a workshop. And you have to have the names of at least 2 of the faculty members who are doing it. You can submit it, and we put the address and the thing to atementorup.org. And in addition to what I would offer is, if any of you want to send me a quick email, and our email will be at the end, I'll be glad to read a paragraph and see if it fits in, or if you want to arrange for an hour conversation with me, I'll be more than happy to arrange to chat with you a little bit about your idea. Next slide. A few years ago, we had so many applications to this project. So again, we encourage you to submit early. We had a spin-off workshop, which involved only cybersecurity, computing disciplines, and data analysis. And so it has the same things that we want to do. And again, it's advisor on this, and I do some of the workshop part on this. It has the same dates as this. The difference is again, it has a focus on those three disciplines, and the workshop is the 13th to the 15th rather than the 15th to the 17th, and it's going to be in person at Prince George's Community College in Largo, Maryland, but also offered online for people who don't feel they can do it. And you can see down there at the bottom that you can submit proposals to the address that's given there. And you can also ask questions to there. But again, if you want to chat with me about this, I'll be glad to chat with you about that one. So again, just in summary, it does involve the formal training for your team and things like that. And now Elaine will talk to you about Mentor Connect.
Thanks, Liz. Mentor Connect is the project for which I serve as principal investigator. Next slide. Mentor Connect has essentially the longest on-ramp for teams preparing proposals. We selected our cohort who will be submitting proposals in October of 2022, in October and November of this fall, and those individuals are already working. So to participate in Mentor Connect, you would be looking at a proposal in 2023 rather than 2022. In 2012, Mentor Connect was funded and began helping prospective grantees develop small grants for institutions new to ATE. We work with cohorts of up to 25 two-year colleges each year who are new to ATE, or the faculty seeking an ATE grant are new to ATE. To date, we've assisted 210 colleges. Having this kind of help has provided to have a big impact on the likelihood of proposals being funded. To put this statement in perspective, the funding rate for all proposals submitted to NSF each year is typically less than 25%. For new to ATE colleges participating in Mentor Connect, the funding rate to date for 10 cohorts of participants has been 70%. This rate does not reflect other types of grant seekers that we've worked with. Working with a mentor in any of the mentoring programs will teach you things you cannot learn any other way and will increase your chances of funding success. Mentor Connect also prepares new mentors for the ATE program. We have a Mentor Fellows internship program for this purpose, and to date, Mentor Connect has prepared 41 mentors to work with prospective grantees. Mentor Connect offers a variety of wraparound support services for several classifications of prospective grantees. In addition to working with cohorts of colleges and faculty who are new to ATE, we assist those who want to move up to ATE projects. We also provide mentoring to prospective grantees whose first or second ATE proposals were not funded, which NSF calls a decline. We help those whose proposals have been declined to rework and resubmit their proposals. We call this second chance mentoring. It is very important that you not give up if your proposal is declined. ATE is a program where persistence can pay off. We also offer a collaborative mentoring service working in partnership with ATE centers, where we co-mentor prospective grantees working on proposals in the discipline served by the ATE center. After proposals have been submitted, Mentor Connect offers unique help for prospective grantees as they navigate through the NSF funding process. Mentor Connect also provides technical assistance during project startup. Mentor Connect teaching webinars are open to everyone, along with the project's comprehensive, searchable library of resources that are specific to ATE proposal development, submission, and implementation. We encourage teamwork and include college grant writers and administrators in all of our mentoring services, as Liz explained, Mentor also does. We found this to be a best practice. Our help desk is here for all prospective grantees, and we collaborate with the other ATE funded mentoring initiatives. For this reason, Mentor Connect is often a good place to start. The timing or discipline focus of workshops and mentoring offered by one of the other initiatives may accommodate a prospective college better than Mentor Connect schedule. The important thing to know is that we are all here to support your success. All mentoring initiatives feature excellent mentors and all share a common goal of helping prospective grantees prepare and submit competitive proposals to the ATE program. Next slide. Mentor Connect mentors those who want to move up from a small grant to an ATE project grant. The mentoring we offer for prospective grantees who are moving up does not include a workshop. For this reason, the mentoring we offer works best for those who have been Mentor Connect participants previously or who have perhaps participated in grant writing workshops offered by other mentoring initiatives as they secured their first ATE grant. For those seeking ATE project grants who have not had grant writing training, Mentor Up, FORCCE-AT, or other mentoring initiative is recommended for those who want to submit in October 2022. The workshops are vitally important and enable prospective grantees to get the greatest benefit from working with a mentor. Mentor Connect also has a deadline of April the 1st for teams seeking a mentor to prepare moving up ATE project grants. For those whose first or second grant submitted to ATE was declined, we begin working with you as early as possible after the decline notification has been received. If the decline occurred in a previous year, April 1st is the deadline. If the decline is received in 2022, we will begin working with you at the point in time you receive the notification, even if it's after April 1st. Finally, for those who are new to ATE, either the college or the faculty seeking an ATE grant, Mentor Connect will select the next cohort of participants next fall to begin working on proposals for submission in 2023. Next slide. I realize that this is a lot to keep straight. Reach out to us and we will help you figure it out. We encourage you to engage with the ATE program and to move up. Pam will now let you know how to follow up with us.
Thank you, Elaine, and thank you very much, Liz, also. Every time I hear about the mentoring options that are available, I get more excited and think it's such a great opportunity for all of you. So I encourage you to get our emails. We'll include them in the chat, but if you have any questions, please email any one of us and we can provide more information. Next slide. And I do know that there are going to be questions, and some of these we answered in the chat. Some of them were more involved than we could answer. So on Wednesday, February 16th, there's going to be an ATE Central office hour. Now, what's exciting about this is it's only available for those of you who attended and registered for the workshop. So it's not going to be starting all over with new information. It's going to be answering the questions or continuing our discussion on this. I know that the chat had some information on how to register for it, but you're also going to be getting, I'm assuming, Alan, that they'll be getting an email with the information, and she is nodding her head yes. So plan on attending. I think that questions come up that we never thought about because we're familiar with the programs, we're familiar with what moving up is. Here's where we can answer those questions. And if you've had an NSF ATE grant, you know, it really doesn't count unless you survey or ask questions later. So I'm going to turn it back to Alan, who's going to talk about the survey.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you to all of our presenters for the session today, and thank you to our participants. We do have all of those questions noted that you've put into chat. I know some of those were answered. And as we said at the top, if there are questions that percolate as you think about this information in preparation for the February 16th Q&A session, please feel free to email me or any of us with those. And that session on the 16th, very, very informal, where we really will be able to see everyone on the screen. We hold that as a Zoom meeting so we can answer your questions and address any inquiries you have about proposal development. So as Pam indicated, this session is being recorded. You will receive a link to the recording, the slide deck, and the checklist, the proposal preparation checklist that Liz covered. as well as the registration link again to the ATE Central office hours. And now when I conclude this webinar, if you would please, the short 3-question survey will appear. If you wouldn't mind taking that for us, we would greatly appreciate it. And with that, we thank you again for your time this afternoon, and that will end our webinar. Thank you.